Hello, brothers and sisters. My name is Muhammad Iqbal, and today I'd like to discuss with you about a major global issue. The global issue at hand is reduced inequalities. What is reduced inequalities, you might be asking? Well, reduced inequalities is the goal to ensure equal opportunity and reduce inequalities outcome, according to the Sustainable Goals Tracker. Now, what this essentially ends up meaning, or in simple terms, is that everyone, regardless of their race, religion, beliefs, values, and so on, are treated equally and fairly, as all of us being seen as human beings. Sadly, in our modern world, despite all these protests, despite all these hashtags, despite everything, this isn't the case at times. Many hate crimes have been committed against people due to race, religion, and many other things throughout the years. One very famous example is the Black Lives Matter movement, which occurred during May 2020 after an African American called George Floyd pleaded out for his mother, whilst a police officer called Derek Chauvin knelt on George's neck, despite him complying with the officer's order peacefully. This was basically seen as, not only was it seen as wrong, but it was basically seen as racist, because the police officer didn't treat anyone else like that, and whilst the police officer did admit that he's basically felt intimidated, that wasn't good enough. He complied with his orders. Why did he continue? Do you think he would have continued doing that if George was a white man? Anyways, this is just one of many incidents that could have been avoided if reduced inequalities were taught or made lawful within this world. Another famous example, which is going to be the main example I use, and which I'm going to kind of go into the history and a bit of detail, brief detail about, is the Israel and Palestine conflict, which has been going on even before the creation of both Israel and Palestine in 1948. I'll try and be brief about this explanation because lots of people have different sides, so I'll just try and be brief. The land used to belong to the Ottoman Empire before it fell in 1918. The British took control of the land. Whilst the Ottoman Empire ruled the land, it was multicultural, meaning that it allowed many cultures. However, there were three main religions which were practiced: Islam, Judaism, and Christianity. They were all practiced, and all of them were taught to respect each other as individuals and to also respect their religions. However, once the British took control, the League of Nations asked the British to allow the Jews residing in Europe to live there because of the torture and mistreatment towards them because of their religion, which is fair. They were treated horribly during that time period, and the British basically ended up having to listen to the League of Nations, who basically told them, please let the Jews live there. They're considered to be their holy land, and they won't receive abuse there. However, then came the arrival of Zionism, which followed the philosophy that instead of Judaism being a religion, it should become a nation, and that being in a Jewish, holy or religious area or community, in which they basically believe that if you're a Jew, you would have more privilege. Due to this, there were lots of fights between the Jews hailing from Europe and the local Palestinians who believed in Islam and Christianity. This fighting caused riots and war. Eventually, after the two became independent nations, many more wars commenced. Although the conflict has clearly been one-sided, when viewing that Israel has the fourth strongest military force in the world and has its own nuclear missiles, and that's been known for attacking Muslim-filled areas and tear gas reporters and Palestinians, still, lots of people still see it as being a conflict, as it being equal. In fact, according to the numbers calculated by the UN themselves, looking back between the years 2008 to 2020, Palestinians suffered a total of 5,590 deaths within the last 12 to 13 years, whilst Israel only suffered 251 deaths. These are only deaths which have been calculated by the UN, and this is only since 2008. The problem is that Israel are treating Palestine and the Palestinians horribly. They're torturing them, murdering them, raping them, and doing many more worse deeds. This is all happening because no one has ever taken any action against Israel for the discrimination towards Muslims and Palestinians. In fact, the clip which I will basically show later on shows how schools in Israel are promoting the children to hate Arabs and the religion of Islam. They teach the kids how they should bomb mosques and how they should get angry when they see Muslims. Alongside this situation, Jews also within Israel also treat black Jews hailing from Ethiopia and African countries horribly. They treat them as slaves, beat them, rape them, and then try and sell them. Alongside this, there are many other situations, such as the Uyghur Muslim situation in China, where Muslims have been placed in camps, been tortured physically and mentally just because of their belief. Alongside this, also with France, with the French President Emmanuel Macron, who's recently banned publication of Muslim books and has decided to close down mosques, claiming they spread hatred. These are all acts of discrimination towards the religion of Islam, which goes against the Reduce Inequalities goal from the UN. What we need to do is take action and promote unity between each other, regardless of race, religion, or belief. We share this world. We as a humanity have been through hell just to reach where we are now, but now we have the resources to live in brotherhood and sisterhood. So brothers and sisters, when walking down the street, if someone needs help, whether they're Muslim, Christian, Hindu, Jew, black, white, regardless, help them and take care of them, because if we don't look after each other, then there'll be nothing but war and bloodshed. Thank you.